Welcome back, Mavericks, to Maverick MidKnight Matinee. Special program for you tonight. Now, you might think that you've seen the Beverly Hillbillies, but you've never seen the Beverly Hillbillies like this, not at a Maverick MidKnight Matinee showing. And I don't know, maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, probably not. Have you or have you not seen the pilot episode, which never went to air on television? That's what this program is all about tonight. We're in for a real treat. We're going to delve into the origins of one of the most beloved and influential television series of all time, the Beverly Hillbillies. But we're not just kicking off with any regular episode, as I said. We're starting off with this unaired pilot episode, the one that never made it to television screens. This is the episode that set the stage for the Clampett family's wild ride from the backwoods of the Ozarks to the high society of Beverly Hills. And then after that, we'll follow up with the first two episodes that officially introduced Jed, Granny, Jethro, and Ellie Mae to the world and changed the landscape of television comedy forever. In fact, I think this television series actually touched on some social issues in a way that was soft, that didn't really alert the viewer to the fact that they were touching on some social issues that are still front and center today, even in the current election cycle. So what made the Beverly Hillbillies such a hit? Well, when this series debuted in 1962, it brought something fresh and unexpected to American screens. It was a show that combined slapstick humor, sharp social commentary, and an unforgettable cast of characters, all set against the backdrop of the ultimate fish out of water scenario. The Clampetts' sudden transition from rural simplicity to the opulence of Beverly Hills tapped into the cultural zeitgeist, offering viewers a humorous yet insightful look at the clash between traditional American values and modern urban life. But the impact of the Beverly Hillbillies didn't stop there. The show became the blueprint for a new wave of rural sitcoms that dominated the 1960s, including Petticoat Junction, Green Acres, and others. And these shows weren't just about laughs. They also reflected the shifting dynamics of American society, where the lines between rural and urban were increasingly blurred. The Beverly Hillbillies captured this transition perfectly, all while keeping audiences in stitches with its unique blend of humor. It's no surprise that the show quickly became a ratings juggernaut, topping the charts and maintaining its status as one of the most watched television shows of its era. In fact, of all time. At its peak, the Beverly Hillbillies was seen by as many as 60 million viewers each week. An unheard of number by today's standards. Its influence can still be felt in countless sitcoms and comedies that followed, from The Simpsons to Modern Family. So tonight, as we watch these episodes together, let's take a moment to appreciate not just the laughs, but also the lasting impact this series had on television and the television landscape, the entertainment landscape, even on our society, our culture. The Beverly Hillbillies wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural phenomenon that left an indelible mark on American entertainment. So grab your popcorn, folks, settle in, and get ready to experience the birth of a television legend right here on Maverick MidKnight Matinee. And don't forget, we're streaming live on YouTube, Rumble, not Twitch, but we are on Wimkin and a few other platforms tonight as well. So keep hitting the like button, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's make this a night to remember. Here it is, the pilot episode of the iconic Beverly Hillbillies.
This is Beverly Hills. Here dwell the rich, the famous, the glamorous, movie stars, royalty in exile, retired millionaires, sportsmen, playboys, hillbillies. Hillbillies? Who are these people? Where are they from? And why did they come to Beverly Hills? We'll discover the answers in a moment as we bring you The Hillbillies.
Let's find that house we bought.
House they bought? In Beverly Hills? Whoa, wait a minute, hold it. How could a bunch of hillbillies possibly buy a mansion like this? Let's take them back to their home in the Ozarks and see how this whole thing started.
Jed, you gotta do something about that young'un of yourn.
How'd that happen?
Fighting with a bobcat.
It hurt?
I reckon so. It went limping off on 3 legs.
I swear, I don't know what I'm gonna do about that girl.
Well, the first thing to do is to get her into a dress. She's getting too big to be wearing man's duds. Looky here. She's done popped the buttons off of her shirt again.
Well, everybody carries herself proud, with her shoulders throwed back.
It ain't her shoulders that's popping these buttons. When you grow up, rounded out, female won't. Time to start acting like one.
Well, one of these days, some boy will come along and start courting her.
They came courting when she was 12. What did she do?
She whopped the tar out of him.
Girl running around as wild as a cougar, wrestling, fighting, and hunting. She ought to be doing woman's work. Helping me with the steel.
Yeah, I'll speak to her.
Oh, that reminds me. Better go down and stomp out the fire under that mash.
Now, hold on now, Granny. You ain't gonna stomp out no fire like that, are you?
Huh? Oh, of course not. Don't want to burn my shoes.
Granny, somebody open the door. Howdy, Pa.
What you got there?
Stranger,
Where'd you get him?
hitting him with a rock.
What for?
He was skulking around down by the slough. Figured he might be a revenuer.
He ain't no revenuer.
Then can I keep him?
Of course not.
Well, I caught him.
That don't matter.
Well, he won't be no trouble. I could keep him out in the smokehouse.
Ellie Mae, you can't keep people like they were dogs and cats.
Ooh, 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 ee. Ow, ooh, hurts. Who's that?
Some feller Ellie found nosing around.
Beat him with a rock so it'd be easier to tote.
Why, that there fella's from the petroleum company.
What's a petroleum?
I don't know. He asked me if he could do some wildcatting down by the slough. I said, help yourself. We're glad to get rid of the critters.
What he said?
He laughed. The laugh's on him. There ain't no wildcats down there at that slough.
Heck no. It's too full of oil.
Oh. What happened? Where am I?
Sure, it's the Clampett place. I'm Jed Clampett, my young and Ellie Mae, and Granny. Granny says you've been doing some wildcatting.
There's no need to. Mr. Clampett, that swamp of yours is full of oil.
I could have told you that.
Well, my company would like to pump it out.
Yeah, I like that too, but I just can't afford to have it done.
Oh, no, you don't understand. You see, you wouldn't have to pay for it.
Oh, I don't take favors from strangers.
No, Mr. Clampett, you see, you're a very rich man.
How big a rock did you bean here?
No bigger than a hedge apple.
Listen, I've got to call my office in Tulsa. Have you got a telephone?
A what?
A telephone? Or maybe one of your neighbors has one. It's well, down in this country, it's probably a box attached to the wall. And, you talk into it, and they can hear you in Tulsa.
Maybe you better sit down for a spell.
No, I haven't time. Listen, where's the nearest airfield?
Airfield?
You know, Granny, that's one of them there fields sets up in the air.
Oh, never mind. I'll find it myself. Listen, now don't you sell that swamp till you hear from me. I'm flying to Tulsa.
Now he thinks he's got wings.
Morning, Granny.
Watch them buttons, child.
Granny! Them pigs of yours got into the corn.
Did they drink much?
I reckon they did. This here little fella was kicking blue blazes out of the mule.
That's the trouble with razorbacks. They's such a mean drunk. This wouldn't happen if you'd stay in the house where you belong.
There it is, Mr. Brewster.
From the tests and surveys, I'd say that's going to be one of the richest pools since East Texas.
News like this is bound to get out. Let's go down and get Clampett's name on a deal.
Where's the gun? Where's the gun?
What's the matter?
You want to see what just flew over Blueberry Ridge? What? The dad-blamedest biggest bird you ever laid eyes on.
Well, just an overgrown chicken hawk.
Chicken hawk, nothing. That thing could make off with the hog. Hurry up, put that gun together.
No room to land near the cabin, Mr. Brewster. It's too rocky and hilly. Then let's get the sling ready to be lowered.
Well, Mr. Brewster, that might be dangerous.
Hang the danger. We're going to be the first oil company down there if it kills you.
Yes, sir. Me?
Don't worry. If it's safe, I'll follow you.
Granny, I see it. There it is.
Land of mercy, look at that.
What you doing, Granny?
That thing's only got one claw, but danged if it ain't grabbed up a man.
Hurry, Pa, it's my stranger.
Where is it?
Just flew over the house. I'll get it on t'other side.
Did you kill it, Granny?
No, but I made it drop that stranger.
Jethro, stop this thing.
Granny!
Yes, kid?
Granny, grab a hold of something and hang on. Cousin Pearl and that overgrown son of hers is headed right for the cabin in that old truck.
Heaven protect us.
No, but I think they sure want the chicken house.
Jake, I'm sure sorry about the chicken house, but nobody got hurt. Jethro, I told you to get rid of them worn-out brakes.
I did, Ma. That's how come we ain't got none.
Get on out and lift the chicken house back on its foundation. Jed, Ellie Mae came running over to my place, and she said you sold the swamp to some oil company.
Well, yeah, I guess I did.
What did they pay you for it?
Well, he ain't paid me nothing yet. That Brewster fella said he'd bring the money later.
How much they gonna pay you?
Well, he said I'd depend some on how much oil they could pump out.
Well, he must have mentioned some figure. What was it?
Well, now, Pearl, you know that old swamp won't worth shucks.
Jed Clampett, you got slickered and you're ashamed to admit it. That's just what I told you. Granny, how much they gonna pay him?
All right, I'll tell you. He said it runs somewhere between 25 and 100.
25 and 100?
I know it don't sound like much, but Mr. Brewster seemed to set great store by the fact he's going to pay me in some new kind of dollar.
There ain't no new kind of dollar.
Well, it's new to me. I've heard of gold dollars, silver dollars, paper dollars, but he said he's going to pay me in, what do you call them, Granny?
$1 million.
The whole thing out on this piece of paper. Here, you can see it for yourself. I don't know nothing about that.
See him. Thanks in heaven. Granny, give me the jug. It's empty, but I'll fetch some.
I'll go, Granny.
Jed, you're a millionaire. A millionaire.
Yeah, that's what that Brewster fella kept calling me. I didn't know just how to take it.
He meant you're rich.
Me?
The richest man in these hills. Maybe in the whole state. Oh, Jed, you can have anything you want. Do anything you want. Go any place you want.
Yeah, that's another thing he kept saying. He said he reckoned I'd be moving away from here soon. What do you think, Pearl? You think I ought to move?
Jed, how can you even ask? Look around you. You're 8 miles from your nearest neighbor. You're overrun with skunks, possums, coyotes, bobcats. You use kerosene lamps for light. You cook on a wood stove, summer and winter. You're drinking homemade moonshine, washing with homemade lye soap. And your bathroom is 50 feet from the house, and you ask, should you move?
In today's dollars, he would be worth,
Fool, leave all this.
about $2.5 billion dollars. $2.5 billion. Yeah.
There you are, Jed. You misunderstood me. I meant you should move away. And you know where I'd go if I was you?
Where?
California.
California?
Yes, sir. Beverly Hills, California. Jed, remember the time that your pa took us to Eureka Springs to see the movie picture?
Yeah.
Well, the actors that make them movie pictures live in Beverly Hills.
Go on.
Yes, sir.
Well, doggy. Living in the same neck of the woods with old Tom Mix.
Sure would. And we could come visit you. You know what else they say about California?
What?
It don't get cold out there.
What don't get cold out there?
Nothing don't get cold out there. They don't have no snow or no ice.
Can't they bring some in?
They don't want it. That's why they're so good for Granny. Remember last winter when she slipped on the ice and broke her hip?
Yeah, poor old woman. She was limping for 2 days.
Well, that couldn't happen in California because they don't have no ice.
How come?
I don't know how come. But Granny'd sure like it, and we could visit you. You know what else they say about California?
Maybe Jethro'd know how come there's no ice. He's going to school.
We could ask you. Jethro,
Yeah, Ma.
come on over here. Speaking of school, Ellie Mae could get herself a fine education out there in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, Ma?
Your rich uncle's got a question he'd like to ask you.
What rich uncle, Ma?
Your rich Uncle Jay.
Jethro? How come there's no ice in California? Don't look at me. I didn't take it.
Oh, get out of here. I'm saying, Jay, folks claim California's got it all beat. Why, things grow twice as big out there.
Jethro'd be a whopper, wouldn't he?
He could help you move. He's awful handy at lifting and toting, and he could drive you out in my truck.
Yeah, now, I couldn't let you do that.
Jed, we're kinfolk. What's mine is yours. And then I could come out later and ride back with him. And bring his unmarried sister along. We could visit for a while. Jay, did I ever tell you about them oranges they grow out there?
Tell you what, Pearl, I'm going to have to study on this. When that Brewster fella comes back, I'll ask him what he thinks.
Well, your cousin is right about that, Mr. Clampett. Beverly Hills is a choice residential area, and lots of millionaires do settle there.
Folks like me, huh?
Well, millionaires.
And movie stars, too.
Oh, yes, yes.
Is Tom Mix there?
No, I'm afraid Mr. Mix is dead.
Oh? Oh, yeah. What's the matter with me? Remember, Pearl, he got shot at the end of that picture.
Talks just like my dad.
There are plenty other movie stars, and that's where Jed wants to live. Ain't it, Jed?
I do like the notion of living in the hills. Never could stand flat country.
Mr. Clampett, I think it only fair. That is, well, I think you may have a wrong idea about Beverly Hills.
Is that where you live?
No, my home is in Tulsa.
Well, say, maybe you could get us a place there in your neighborhood.
Mr. Clampett, let's not beat around the bush. You will love Beverly Hills.
Then that's it. Can you steer Jade onto a good place?
No, I can get the bank out there to handle it for him.
He'd like a nice big place with plenty of room for his kinfolk to visit him.
Well, I would like a nice, roomy place if I could afford it.
Oh, Mr. Clampett, with your money, you can afford the Taj Mahal.
Okay, I'll take it.
Well, no, you see, I was just making a little joke.
Oh, well, go right ahead.
Well, you see, the Taj Mahal is in India.
Mr. Brewster, you're a nice fella, but I've heard better jokes.
Is the foreigner staying to supper?
I'm ashamed to say I ain't asked him. How about it?
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, no trouble. What you cooking tonight, Granny?
Mustard greens and possum innards.
You hear that, Mr. Brewster?
Very clearly.
Change your mind?
Not this time.
Well, if you should happen to come back tomorrow, we'll be having leftovers. That's the thing about possum innards. He's just as good as second day. Ellie, if old Duke sits there with you, there ain't gonna be room for Granny.
Oh, that's all right, Paul. Granny ain't gone.
Who said?
You ain't seen Miss Hathaway yet, Choosy. I know you think she's hot, but simmer down there, young feller. She'll be along.
As close to California as you're gonna get her.
We'll see about that. Dang if I ain't got me the muleyest women folk. We ain't never gonna get there. Now, what's all this nonsense about you ain't going to California?
Ain't no nonsense to it. If the good Lord had wanted me in California, he'd have put me in California.
Maybe he's just getting around to it. Book says he moves in mysterious ways.
Well, if he moves me, I'll go. You and Big Jethro ain't a budging me.
This here Beverly Hills sounds like the kind of place you'd like. That Brewster fella says they got smogs out there. What's a smog? We and Jethro figured out that's a small hog. And you heard the girls say they ain't got no snow out there. You could run your still year-round.
Runs the year round here.
Yeah, but walking down through the snow to the still always makes you feel so miserable.
I might feel miserable walking down. But the way I feel's coming back.
Hey, damn it, Granny. We've been planning and talking about this trip for days. You never said you wouldn't go.
Never said I wouldn't either.
But that Brewster feller has bought us a house in them Beverly Hills. He sent our $25 million to the bank out there.
Well, you just chase on out after it. I'm staying right here. And I ain't afeared neither.
Granny, I ain't a-leaving you here alone.
And I ain't a budging out of this rocker.
Jethro, what does that sign say?
It says Beverly Hills.
You hear that, Granny? We're there. They call them hills? Why, we got moles that can push up higher ridges than that.
Well, leastways, these hills. We'll be among our kind of folks.
This deposit of $25 million to the account of J.D. Clampett,
J.D.?
as in Rockefeller, elevates us to third position in capital assets and assures our bank of... Come in.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Drysdale.
All right, Taylor. Well, are we all set to give the Clampetts a red carpet reception?
Well, I'm afraid Mrs. Drysdale still isn't too happy, sir.
Yes, I know. Oh, my wife is very upset that I got the estate next to ours for the Clampetts. Says I don't even know what kind of people they are.
Do you?
I know to the dollar what kind of people they are. My kind of people. Loaded. Taylor, have the gardeners got the grounds in order?
Yes, sir. But I'm afraid that's another thing your wife was upset about.
Oh?
Well, you see, your gardeners have been working on their lawn all week. Why, they've mowed it, trimmed it, fed it, clipped it.
I don't care if they lather it and shave it. This is the most beautiful mansion in Beverly Hills. I want every square inch of ground within those walls in apple pie. Oh. Yes? Oh, hello, Margaret. No, dear, I'm very What? Well, good heavens, did you call the police? I'll be right there.
What happened?
The Clampett estate is being invaded by a band of outlaws. Yes, they're holding the gardeners at gunpoint.
Sure is lucky he come along when we did.
That's the truth. The way they were slipping through that gate, another 5 minutes and that whole darn prison would have been empty. You sure that's a prison?
Yeah, Uncle Ted. I seen pictures. Only thing is, how come there ain't no guards on them walls?
Well, he probably done them in with them knives and things.
These killers if I ever did see any. Fine neighborhood we's moving into.
You hear that? Hot diggity, there's bobcats in these hills.
Them sirens! Somebody's calling the law.
I reckon they's gonna be mighty grateful for what we done. Folks out here has got a strange way of showing they's grateful.
Wonder what they done with Granny and Ellie Mae.
I don't know. They sure put up the scrap, didn't they?
Ellie Mae whipped herself 3 policemen and 2 convicts.
What's going on here? You've locked up one of the richest men in the country. Mr. Clampett, I don't know how to apologize. I am deeply humiliated. What have you cutthroats done with J.D. Clampett?
I'm Jed Clampett, and I'd appreciate it if you'd let go of my Sunday shirt.
You're J.D. Clampett, the oil millionaire?
Yep, this here's my nephew, Jethro.
Howdy. Quickly, man, unlock this, sir. Mr. Clampett, on behalf of the entire city of Beverly Hills, I extend our deep and humble apologies for this unfortunate and embarrassing incident. Oh, I'm Milburn Drysdale, president of the Beverly Hills Bank. My car is waiting to take you and your family to your new home. We want you to know how happy we are to have you, your handsome nephew, your lovely daughter, and your beautiful mother.
If you noticed, but Jethro's voice was overdubbed by a different person in some sections.
Tricked us. You just took us out of jail so you could bring us back up here to prison. Head for the hills, everybody! No! Out of prison, it's your home!
Paul Henning, creator of the show. That's who did some of the voice overdub on the Jethro character in the pilot.
Well, I finally rounded them up and convinced them that stone walls do not a prison make. I shall never forget the picture of those hillbillies driving up to their new home.
Welcome. Hey, well now, ain't that handy?
What's that, Pa?
it takes a bend in here, runs right by the front door.
No, Mr. Clampett, this is your driveway. It goes with the house.
Is this thing a house?
Oh, yes, indeed. It was built by John Barrymore, one of our finest actors.
Pretty fair stonemason, too.
Hey, Jed! This here is dandy soil. We can grow a good stand of corn here.
Fine, Granny. We'll commence plowing tomorrow.
You can't grow corn there.
Now, don't you worry. If Granny says it's good soil, it's good soil.
Ain't nobody can grow corn like Granny.
But this is Beverly Hills.
Dirt is dirt.
I suppose that should have been fair warning as to what I could expect. At first, I must admit I was mostly amused at their reactions.
Foundation. Well, Jethro, what do you think of our new house?
Well, Uncle Jed, seems the biggest bunch indoors I ever did see.
It's a whopper, all right. Granny says there's one whole room just for cooking.
Oh, Uncle Jed, wait till you see that. Why, it's got an icebox in it, big enough for a whole side of beef.
Is that a fact?
Yes, sir. And guess what keeps that great big thing cold?
What?
3 or 4 little bitty old pans ice no bigger than that.
The only thing is, when that ice melts, where are we going to get more?
Guess we just have to wait for that pond to freeze over.
Is this place got a pond?
Has it got a pond? Uncle Jed, it's the fanciest thing you ever did see. All cement.
A cement pond.
Yes, sir. And there's steps. So as the cattle can walk right down into it and get a drink. Notice. And down at the deep end, there is a board sticking right out over the water. Only thing is, I can't figure out what that's for.
Jethro, how can you be so dumb? That there is to set on while you fish.
Why you fish? Why, sure, yeah, why you fish?
And then there was the evening I arranged a date for Ellie Mae with a young man from the bank. I must admit she was a vision of beauty in that dress my secretary had picked out for her. Oh, Miss Clampett, may I present Brad Jason? Why in heaven's name did you do that?
That rascal was fixing to bite me.
And then, of course, there was that dreadful day when I was leaving and found the gate locked. Hello? Hello? Mr. Clampett, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good, good. I need your help.
Sounds like you're inside the wall.
Yeah. Would you let me out, please?
You bet I will. You stay right where you are. I'll get me an axe and have you out of there in no time.
He demolished 30 feet of wall before I could stop him. But the worst thing that happened... I'm sorry, Mr. Drysdale. You're always
This is so good. The writing is so good.
I'll be here.
It's just so darn good. They don't make them like this anymore. The writing is so tight. It's so clever. And this was original back in the day. They just don't do it like this anymore. Now everything is so, I don't know. This was, innocent isn't the right word, but genuine, and it was just pure entertainment. I don't know how the style, incomparable. It's a totally different style today. Everything today, a reflection of a society that has lost its way, I would say. Not so back in that time. Social issues were issues then too, but there was just something about television back in 1962 that just had more appeal, at least to me. It was the golden age of television. Stay with me. We've got more of the original premiere episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies coming right up.
He's a fighter. He's a survivor. President Trump, defiant, strong. He is determined to make America great again. Pay tribute to the 45th President of the United States with this collectible t-shirt from the Maverick News Memorable Moments collection. Even a would-be assassin's bullet could not stop him. Instead, he emerged with his fist in the air ready to fight. For freedom. Get your Trump Fighting for Freedom t-shirt with any donation of $30 or more to Maverick News. There are 2 iconic artistic designs to choose from. But there is only one way to get these. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Support free speech. Free media. Support Maverick News. Call 1-866-248-1490 or order online at supergeeks.tv.
Yeah, and I see Tinfoil Hat is mentioning Benny Hill, and Choosy also mentioning Benny Hill. The section there, that one scene with Granny running and the running at the end of the episode, that reminded me of Benny Hill too, very much so. This episode, especially these original episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies, really set the stage for so much that came later in primetime TV. So let's get into the second episode here of the Beverly Hillbillies. This is called Settling In. And this is the episode that truly begins to define the dynamic between the hillbillies and the modern world that they've stumbled into. Now, let's talk about the cast that brought this iconic show to life. We have Buddy Ebsen as Jed Clampett, the wise and humble patriarch with newfound wealth that never changes his down-to-earth values. As I said, in today's dollars, the money that he was given or that he was paid for that worthless swampland would be worth about $2.5 billion in today's terms. Irene Ryan shines as Granny, the feisty matriarch who's as sharp as a tack and full of old world wisdom. Then there's Max Baer Jr. as Jethro Bodine, Jed's good-hearted but slightly dim-witted nephew, who's always got a wild scheme up his sleeve. And, of course, can't forget Donna Douglas as Ellie Mae, Jed's beautiful, tomboyish daughter who can out-wrestle a bobcat and still charm the socks off anyone in Beverly Hills, Beverly Hills as a hillbilly, even when she doesn't have shoes on. But this episode and the series as a whole goes beyond just great characters and hilarious situations. Settling In is a prime example of how the Beverly Hillbillies used comedy to make subtle yet powerful social statements. The series took aim at the cultural and class divides of its time, highlighting the contrasts between rural simplicity and urban sophistication. Through the Clampetts' interactions with their wealthy neighbors and the broader society of Beverly Hills. The show offered a satirical look at the assumptions and prejudices that often come with wealth and status. And I can tell you, I have visited Beverly Hills, and it's a different kind of people out there. It absolutely is. Yeah, I had some interactions with some of the folks in Beverly Hills, and I can say that the culture where I'm from is just a little bit different, way up here in Kanukistan. So in settling in, we see the Clampetts trying to navigate their new world, all while staying true to their roots. Their down-to-earth approach to life challenges, the more superficial values of those around them, serving as a reminder that true wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in character and integrity. This trend-setting series wasn't just about the laughs, folks. It was about showing that no matter how out of place you might feel, and I know we all around here feel a little bit out of place, my misfit friends, welcome to the island of misfit toys. Staying true to who you are is really what matters. It's no wonder that the Beverly Hillbillies became a cultural phenomenon, influencing countless shows that followed and resonating with audiences for decades. So let's sit back and settle in for settling in. The Beverly Hillbillies. And notice the music isn't the actual music from the show because that's copyrighted. The Beverly Hillbillies song. This is.
Welcome. Howdy. Well, now, ain't that handy?
That, Paul?
Way the road takes a bend in here, runs right by the front door.
No, Mr. Clampett, this is your driveway. It goes with the house.
Is this thing a high?
Oh, yes, indeed. It was built by John Barrymore, one of our finest actors.
Pretty fair stonemason, too.
Hey, Jed! This here is dandy soil.
Fine, Granny. We'll commence plowing tomorrow.
But this is Beverly Hills.
Dirt is dirt.
Yes, I know, but why don't we look around inside, eh? Well, here we are. I hope you're going to like this place I picked out for you. Maybe a trifle larger than what you're used to, but I feel a man with $25 million in my bank should live in a manner that... Come in, this is your home. As I say, it may be a bit more than you're used to, but I'm sure you'll be comfortable. Now, my secretary will be over right away to help you with the hiring of servants or whatever problems you may have. She's a very efficient girl, Miss Hathaway.
Jed? 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 You and Jethro fetching my stove so I can get some victuals to cooking?
You have a beautiful stove.
Thank you. Fetch it in, Jed. You scare up some wood, Ellie.
No, I mean you have a stove already installed in the kitchen.
Where's that?
I'll show you. Excuse us.
Ellie, you go with Granny. She'll still need you to fetch some wood.
Sure, Paul.
Uncle Jed, guess what? There's a whole nother house up here.
Guess who'll come down from there? Like as not that belongs to somebody else.
Darn. This is your kitchen. Oh, and here's the stove. The last word in food preparation. And speaking of food, you'll find everything you could possibly want stored right in here. See? Huh? Well, I'll leave you ladies to your culinary delights. Au revoir. Bon appetit.
talks gibberish.
You seem to set a great deal of store in this here stove, Granny.
Well, we'll see. Ellie, you run out and fetch some wood. I'll get a fire to going in here and we'll see.
Jethro, I hope it's all right for you to be missing school.
Oh, sure, Uncle Jed. They ain't strict in the 5th grade.
You in the 5th grade already?
Starting this year.
Don't seem like no time at all since you went with your ma to get you started in the 1st grade. You was 6 years old. No bigger than that. We drove clean over to Oxford so you could go to the same school your pa went to.
You wouldn't know that town today, Uncle Jed.
Oxford?
Yes, sir. Well, that town has growed and growed and spread out and built up and just kept getting bigger and bigger. Where today, why, I bet you there must be at least 3 or 4 dozen people living there.
A place like that's all right to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there.
Do you have any assistance?
No, thank you, Mr. Drysdale. We were just talking about Jethro here getting back to school.
Oh, well, we have some excellent educational facilities out here, Mr. Clampett. Where do you go to school, Jethro?
Oxford.
Oxford.
Yeah, you see, Jethro's ma, that's my cousin Pearl. She married an Oxford man, so naturally Jethro, he goes to school there, too.
I'm the champion crawdad eater.
At Oxford?
Jethro put away 3 buckets of crawdads.
4.
And he's learned to cipher and everything. Cipher some for Mr. Drysdale.
1 and 1's 2. 2 and 2's 4. 4 and 4's 8. I have to take off my shoes to get any further than that.
Never mind. I'm sure we're thinking of 2 different Oxfords. You see, there's one that's very famous and very old.
That's where Jethro goes to school. Been there since pioneer days.
That's how come it got its name. It's where the oxen used to ford the river.
So folks took to calling it Oxenford, and later on it got shortened to Oxford.
Well, I'll be running. Oh, by the way, here are your keys. My secretary should be over very soon.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Drysdale, for everything you've been doing for us.
Here you go,
My pleasure, Mr.
Choosy.
Clampett. You see, I'm not only your banker,
Miss
I'm your
Hathaway's
next
on the
neighbor.
way.
Well, say, how ain't that nice? Well, now, why don't you bring your missus over tonight for supper, and I'll have Granny womp up a mess of grits and hog jowl.
Well, you see, right now my wife is in Boston.
Well, that's too bad. When'll she be back?
Not too soon, fortunately. I'll see you later.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drysdale.
So long. Uncle Jed, you reckon one of these days I can have me a little bitty old taste of Granny's moonshine?
Now, Jethro, you know the family rule about Granny's moonshine? You get your first taste on your wedding day and not before.
Well, Uncle Jed, that might be an awful long time. I ain't even got me no sweetheart.
How come?
Why, back home, every time I get me a girl, one of them there big fellas would take her right away from me.
Maybe out here in Beverly Hills.
Paul, could I please have the axe? I gotta split some wood for Granny.
Fetch it, Jethro. Ain't this place got a wood pile?
Not that I can find, but I found a whole row of black old dead tree trunks, pretty near as high as this house.
Is it kind of big for you to tackle?
Well, shucks, no, Paul. They're only this big around, and all trimmed and topped and strung together with a black rope, so as no matter which one you cut, the others keep it from falling.
Somebody had a right smart idea there. Just the same, I think I'd rather have Jethro do the cutting.
Oh, Paul, let me.
Ah, cutting trees and chopping logs ain't no work for a girl.
I'm just as strong as Jethro.
You ain't neither.
I am so.
You ain't neither.
I am so, too. You want to wrestle?
Darn tootin'.
Now, here. That ain't no fair fight. Somebody's gonna get hurt. Now, yeah, you see? You're getting too rough. Jethro. A person can get crippled from a hold like that. Get up from there.
I can't, Uncle Jed.
You turn him loose and get up from there before I take the strap to the boot. Now, here, you get out there and chop down one of them tree trunks and saw Granny some nice logs.
Yes, sir, Uncle Jed. Could have whooped you if you hadn't tripped me.
Happy? Come back here and sit down. I want to talk to you.
Whooped him fair and square, and I'll do it again.
You won't. That's what I want to talk to you about. Ellie Mae, you're getting too big to wrestle with boys.
I ain't as big as Jethro.
Big that way, I mean, growed up. You're a young lady now. You gotta start minding your manners and fixing yourself up real nice and wearing dresses.
Paul, folks would call me a sissy.
It ain't sissy for girls to act like girls. You see, Ellie, I raised you like a boy, and I was wrong to do it. I reckon every man liked to have a son, and you was my only young'un. And when your ma passed away, I just decided to turn you into a boy. By the time Granny come to help out, you was too wild to tame. By thunder, you could outrun, out-climb, out-fight, and out-shoot every boy in them hills.
Still can, Paul.
Yeah, but it ain't fitting. It ain't right for folks to go against nature. Now look at old Duke here. Reckon we could turn him into a cat?
Of course not.
That's right. Because nature made him into a dog. It's the same way nature made you into a girl. Here lately, she's getting more and more positive about it.
You mean my ears is grown?
No, nothing like that. You're pretty.
Oh, Paul.
I know you don't like it when I say that, but you like it when the young fellas around here come in saying it, and they will. Only they'll probably be using words, fancy words I won't even understand. But Ellie Mae, ain't nobody can ever tell you how pretty you really are, except me. You're the living picture of your mom.
Still here? I thought you were going up to the Clampett estate.
I guess things just made more sense then.
Simultaneously. In the event of crises...
The only crisis you have to worry about right now is keeping Mr. J.D. Clampett happy. Now get up there.
Tell me, how did you like the flamingos?
What flamingos?
I thought pink flamingos around the swimming pool would add a rather elegant touch.
Mr. Clampett is not a man educated to elegance. That will take time. Right now, there are more pressing problems.
Of course, getting settled, the servant problem.
Well, whatever they are, just get up there and solve them. Now, J.D. Clampett is this bank's largest depositor, and I'm making his satisfaction your responsibility.
I accept the mantle of responsibility with which you have cloaked my shoulders, and I shall so conduct myself that if this great financial institution shall last 1,000 years, people will still say, this was their finest hour.
And he would, all right. Got a lot of pitch and tar in it. Ought to burn real good.
Yeah. That flimsy grate holds up.
Granny, this is the top of that tree trunk. You want I should split it up too?
No, just leave it outside.
Yes, sir.
This place ain't even got a wood box.
Yeah, folks don't need much wood out here. Remember what Pearl said? It don't get cold.
Yeah, I remember. It might not get cold in the day, but it sure freezes solid at night.
How you know?
I'll show you how I know. Every bit of food in this here storage bin is frozen harder than a rock. Yes. Look.
Mighty thin-skinned hog. But I'll be doggone.
Take me 2 days to thaw out that ham before I can ever cook it.
People ought to know better than store food up against the north wall. Why, we'll dig us a root cellar and we put all this stuff in it. Jethro, go on out there and catch us a chicken.
Okay, Uncle Jay.
How you know we got chickens?
A place this size is bound to have chickens.
Ain't all frozen.
Chick, 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 chick.
The chicken?
Here's that bucket. You want it?
You take it, Ellie. See if you can find a creek. I gotta have some water.
You know a pump on this place?
It ain't even got a well.
Uncle Jed, Uncle Jed.
Yeah, boy, did you find a chicken?
I found something. I ain't sure if it's a chicken, a goose, a duck, or what.
Where is it?
I couldn't catch it. That thing can outrun a jackrabbit.
There ain't no goose or duck.
Must be a chicken.
If it is, I was right about things growing bigger out here. That thing was this high.
A chicken?
Ah, Jethro.
Honest, it's got legs this long.
Gibby's on the drumstick.
Drumstick ain't much. Whoever gets that neck is eating from now on. Commences here and runs plumb up to here.
Jethro, you ain't forgot what I said about Granny's jug of liquor.
I ain't been at Granny's jug.
You have your in for it.
Honest, cross my heart.
Where'd you see this chicken?
Down by the cement pond.
Cement pond?
Uncle Jed, that pond is the fanciest thing you ever did see. Why, they are steps, so as the cattle can walk right down into it and get a drink. And up at one end, there's a lady standing there made out of rock. And she's a-pouring water out of a jar right into that cement pond.
Oh.
Well, that's how come that big old pink chicken to get away from me. Flew right over the top of that there rock lady, landed in that pond, and swam like an otter. Just flapping them big old pink wings and hollering.
What color did you say that chicken was?
It's pink.
Ain't I told you that stuff would stunt your growth?
Miss Granny, I didn't touch a drop.
You and me is going to the woodshed.
Now, Jethro, you swear to be telling the truth?
So help me, Jefferson Davis.
You take your hat off when you speak to the president.
He ain't president no more.
I'll have no Yankee talk in my kitchen.
Now, Jethro, you and me is going back out there and corner that chicken. Granny, you get your fire to going. Ellie Mae, you sweep up out front and keep your eyes open for that Miss Hathaway. I'm counting on her to take you in hand and get you in the right kind of clothes. Come on.
Chicken.
You there, young man?
I ain't a young man, but I sure do thank you for thinking so.
Good heavens, you're a girl.
Yeah.
I'm Jane Hathaway, executive secretary to Mr. Drysdale. And you, I take it, are a domestic of some sort? Cleaning girl, housemaid? Just what are your duties with Mr. Clampett?
Well, he sent me out here to sweep up. But he said you'd take me in hand and get me in the right kind of clothes and everything.
Indeed, I shall. We have a complete servant's wardrobe from chef to chauffeur. Come with me. What in the name of Thomas Chippendale is this? Has Mr. Clampett seen this disgraceful and unsightly mound of debris?
Oh, yes, ma'am. This is all his.
Oh, what charming antiques.
Just like you said, Jethro. Rock lady pouring water into a cement pond.
Yes, sir. And over there's where I seen that great big pink chicken. Only thing is, it don't sound like a chicken. It makes a kind of hollering noise.
Reckon you'd make a hollering noise, too, if you was to lay egg like that.
Man, oh, man. That's what I call an egg.
Well, you won't have to worry about food now. Wait till she cooks this.
That flame city stove don't draw worth nothing.
Granny, look at this egg. What's all the smoke?
Stove don't work.
Probably just a stuffed-up flue.
Ain't got a flue, ain't even got a stovepipe.
Well, I'll get the shovel and a hoe and rake it out of there. Here, you keep this egg.
Just like everything else out here. Froze solid.
Really, my dear, you look quite charming.
Well, I feel like a dead blank fool.
Oh. Just a moment.
Get something, I'll be right back.
Oh, that was my Pa.
I take it he's a gardener.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Pa just can't wait to commence gardening.
Apparently. However, as though I admire his enthusiasm, I must forbid him access through the main entrance. Now, tell me about the rest of the staff. Is there a chauffeur?
A what?
Someone who does the driving.
Oh, yes, ma'am. That's Jethro. Of course, I don't reckon he can stay around very long. He's got to get back to Oxford and go to school.
Oxford? He attends Oxford University?
Well, he just calls it school. Pa went to school there, too.
Oh, yes. Old school time. Great pride, those Oxford men.
Sorry I couldn't stop before. Granny was having trouble in the kitchen.
Pa, do I have to wear this here stuff that Miss Hathaway...
No, there can be no appeal from Mr. Clampett's orders.
Thank you, ma'am. Glad to see you taking the firm hand. Ellie Mae, that's right pretty. Makes you look taller.
She's got me walking on pegs.
We'll run in and show Granny.
And get rid of those old clothes, dear. Granny, I presume, is the cook.
Yes, ma'am, but she ain't too happy about it right now.
I shall deal with her directly. Now, let's see. Maid, gardener, cook, chauffeur. Oh, I understand Jethro is an Oxford man.
You bet he is.
I'm quite anxious to meet him.
Don't blame you. Fine-looking young feller. Single, too. And he's on the lookout for a girl.
I am only interested in the intellectual rapport which I would naturally have with an Oxford man. I presume you went to Eton as a boy.
If I know Jethro, he went to Eton the minute he was born.
Yes, of course. I suppose his father matriculated him.
I kind of think maybe it was his ma.
Oh, well, no matter. At any rate, he's an Eton man.
That he is. Matter of fact, Jethro won the Eton championship.
Oh, marvelous. What was he champion of?
Eton.
Yes, I know. But what was it? Cricket?
Oh, no, it was crawdad. I don't think even Jethro'd eat crickets.
I was referring to the game of cricket.
But they want us all to eat crickets now.
I bet you, Granny. You talk to Miss Hathaway.
How times have
And just why
changed.
does cook need an axe?
I've hit this with everything I could lay a hand to. I even whomped it with an iron skillet.
You are supposed to hit it with a croquet mallet.
All right, where is it?
I don't think I'll tell you. There is a time for work and a time for play. Now then, what are we cooking for Mr. Clampett?
Well, I don't know what you're cooking him, but if he wants any victuals from me, somebody better shoot a possum.
Possum?
You got a better idea?
But of course, a nice big fluffy souffle.
All right. You shoot it and you skin it.
You don't even know what a souffle is. What kind of a cook are you?
I'm a cook with a stove that don't draw, food that's froze solid, chickens that can't be caught, eggs that can't be broke, and a smart alecky city woman telling me my business. That's what kind of a cook I am.
Mind your tongue, little woman. I can have your job.
You sure can, and the sooner the better.
Jethro's coming, and just wait till you see what he's got.
Thank heaven. Now I can have an intelligent conversation.
Look, Granny, I caught that big chicken.
I hope it ain't as tough as its egg.
That is a flamingo.
Oh, no, ma'am. That's my nephew, Jethro. Jethro, say hello to Miss Hathaway.
I did, ma'am. This the ding dangest chicken you ever did see.
You go to school at Oxford?
Yes, ma'am. I'm in the 5th grade.
Stop dragging and wring that chicken's neck. Ellie Mae!
No, stop, you barbarian. Don't harm one feather of that beautiful bird.
I've taken just about as much as I'm going to take from you.
Yeah, Granny.
Ellie, you get the fire going under the big kettle outdoors.
Young lady, where is your maid's uniform?
I ain't going to work.
Oh, yes, you are.
No, I ain't.
Oh, yes, you are, if I must subdue you forcefully.
I wouldn't try that.
Don't!
Tried to tell you.
Let me out. You trust me.
I'll settle on her, Ellie. You get the fire to go.
Now, here, Granny. Come on, let her up. Get off of her.
You are discharged. All of you. Sacked. Fired. And you are the most incompetent, insubordinate, belligerent group of domestics it has ever been my misfortune.
Hathaway.
Ah, Chief. Your You're just in time to help me take disciplinary action.
You're fired.
I've already told them.
Not them, you. These people are the Clampetts.
Clampett?
Yes, that's right. Now go back to the office and pick up your severance pay. You are through.
Now, Mr. Drysdale, hold on a spell. I reckon there's been a kind of a misunderstanding. But this little lady's been a right big help to us. Why, she fit in just like one of the family. Matter of fact, her and me is going out hunting. Ain't that right, Miss Hathaway?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Jethro, you can take that pink chicken back out to the cement pond. We're going out and shoot us a nice, big, fluffy souffle.
Yes, sir. But they ain't gonna eat no crickets because they have way too much common sense for that. Not so Justin Trudeau. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. And social commentary. Isn't it interesting to see how eating crickets was a joke and now they really want us to eat crickets? What has happened to our world? I don't know. That car, the Beverly Hillbillies car, was created by George Barris, who also created the Batmobile for the 1960s TV series. As you know, maybe, I had the privilege of interviewing George Barris a few times. I met him a few times, and he was on my automotive show. And that Beverly Hillbillies truck, actually, was built on a 1921 Oldsmobile Model 46 Roadster, and Barris modified that extensively to give it the rustic, old-fashioned appearance that fit right in with the Clampett family's backwoods image. I've seen that truck in person. Actually, I've touched it, which is kind of cool too. And you know, that episode, that segment, the scene, excuse me, in the middle of that episode where Jed is speaking to Ellie Mae about her lack of interest in conventional female activities like wearing dresses and participating in traditional feminine pursuits. You know, he expressed his worry that she might not be fitting into the expected gender roles of the time, reflecting the prevailing societal norms back then that defined, it defined the 1960s in many ways, and even the 70s. It was a different time, man. During the 1960s, societal expectations for gender roles were a lot more rigid. Women were generally expected to conform to traditional roles of homemaking, nurturing, and their interests and activities were often limited to those deemed appropriate for their gender. I remember my mom going out to get a job in the 1970s, and it was like a transition for my dad at the time, and I remember them having conversations about it because it was times were changing in the 1970s. My mom went out and got a job, and my dad was uncomfortable with it. I could tell at the time. I hope I'm not speaking out of school here. But, he quickly got used to having the additional paycheck coming in, and the need for that second paycheck today is common, because the economy has changed so much. And today's social standards have evolved, particularly with the rise of the LGBTQ plus rights movement. Conversations around gender identity and expression are far more, how shall we put it, nuanced and inclusive. But we see people clashing in the streets now because those gender and issues of sexual identity are being thrust into the social discourse in ways today that really were not present then, but there was a lot of stuff going on quietly in the closet and in the bedrooms of our communities that a lot of people maybe weren't aware of, or maybe just chose not to acknowledge at the time. And I don't know, some would say that a lot of progress has been made in that regard today. I would say people should be free to live life largely the way they want to live life, but I don't know if we've made progress because we're seeing so much conflict, so much divide as a result of those social issues that revolve around things like gender. Stay with me. We'll be right back, and we'll continue with our next episode of the Beverly Hillbillies.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The other thing I noted about that last episode was Granny uses the phrase, I have a stove that won't draw. If you spoke to some young person today, some youngin', they probably wouldn't have a clue what that even means, right? How many young people have ever been exposed to a wood stove? The draw, of course, being the draft, the air going up into the chimney, and how you start the fire and make sure that the smoke goes up the chimney so that it goes out of the building, right? My dad has a wood stove in his house. I told you, my dad, kind of like Jed Clampett. Maybe not quite, but, you're getting the idea, right? And he heats his house with a wood stove, still today. Shows you where I come from, right? But it works really well, and he knows what it means when you say that, you have to, I know what it means when she's talking about a stove that draws. It's about airflow. But isn't it interesting how back then it was funny because the Clampetts had trouble adapting to the technology and the modern conveniences of the day. And now we're laughing. I'm laughing because I know that young people today, today's generation, today's society is filled with people who haven't got a clue how old things like wood stoves work, or even things like telephones with a rotary, even a rotary or a dial, right? How do you make an old telephone work? Not a clue how any of that old tech works. But I'll tell you, when when Armageddon comes, you're going to want to know how all that old stuff works, because that's the stuff that will keep us all alive. So let's move on now to this next episode of the Beverly Hillbillies. This one is called Meanwhile Back at the Cabin. This is the episode where we get a glimpse of what's happening back at the Clampetts' old stomping grounds in the Ozarks, reminding us of just how far they've come and how much they've stayed the same. Now, what makes Meanwhile Back at the Cabin so special? Well, this episode is a great example of how the Beverly Hillbillies set the stage for future television shows that explored the clash between rural and urban life. Decades later, we saw similar themes in shows like The Dukes of Hazzard, where characters from small-town America took on the big city, or, in the Dukes Boys' case, corrupt local authorities with their down-home wit and charm. Both shows became cultural touchstones, celebrated for their humor and adventurous spirit, but they also stirred up their fair share of controversy. The Beverly Hillbillies and the Dukes of Hazzard both played with stereotypes of rural life, sometimes in ways that were seen as harmless fun, and other times in ways that sparked debate. The Clampetts, like the Duke Boys, were portrayed as good-hearted and resourceful, but their simple country ways were often played for laughs, sometimes reinforcing certain stereotypes about rural folks. These portrayals were part of the charm for many viewers, but they also raised questions about how rural Americans were being depicted on screen. We still see that divide today, I think, even between, the MAGA people and the progressives, the people from California and people in flyover country. As we look back at these shows today, we have to ask, would a series like the Beverly Hillbillies be made the same way now? Or would it need to be adjusted for today's societal or social standards? In a time when there's greater awareness of cultural sensitivity, yeah, there's a word, sensitivity, it's likely that some elements of the show would be handled differently, shall we say. Stereotypes that were once considered harmless might now be seen as problematic, and the humor would need to be more carefully crafted to avoid offending modern audiences. That said, the heart of the Beverly Hillbillies, its celebration of family, integrity, and the idea that wealth doesn't change who you are, still resonates today. These themes are timeless, even if the way they're presented might need to evolve. So tonight, as we watch Meanwhile Back at the Cabin, let's appreciate it for what it was, a snapshot of a different era in television, one that paved the way for many beloved shows that followed. But let's also think about how television, like society, continues to change and grow, maybe for the better in some ways, certainly for the worse in others, and what that means for the stories we tell. Sit back, relax, and let's enjoy together this classic episode of the Beverly Hillbillies, Meanwhile Back at the Cabin. And again, the generic version of the music on a banjo, not the Beverly Hillbillies theme song. It's okay.
Well, Jethro, what have you got to say about that?
I didn't bust it, honest. He's telling the truth, Mr. Drysdale. It was hanging in pieces like that when we moved in.
Yes, sir. No, it's supposed to be like that. It was made that way. It's been like that for 200 years.
200 years? Hey, this house is older than it looks.
Pedro!
Oh, I plumb forgot. Granny wants to see you. Skedaddle.
All right, Uncle Jed.
Nice boy. His ma, my cousin Pearl, gave me the notion to move out here.
Well, I'm most grateful to her. Oh, but first, I wanted to explain about this priceless crystal chandelier. It was designed and made for Louis XV, hung in the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles. Napoleon Bonaparte planned campaigns for the light of that chandelier. Talleyrand used it. Wellington, Disraeli, Bismarck, Wilson.
Mr. Drysdale, we're just plain folk. We don't mind a few things being secondhand. Getting back to my cousin Pearl, she's looking after the old home place for me. You ain't never seen my family home, have you?
No, I haven't, Mr. Clampett.
It's a dandy.
Yes, those southern mansions are beautiful. I suppose it has the large white pillars.
It did, but we bring them along and put them on the beds out here.
No, you see, I was referring to wooden pillars.
Oh, ain't never slept on one of them. We had everything first class back home. Sure hope Pearl's taking good care of that place.
Hello there.
Oh, why, you're Mr. Brewster from the oil company that paid Cousin Jed all that money for his swamp.
25 million to be exact.
You ain't here to back out, are you?
No, indeed. Your cousin's money is safe in the bank in California. I just thought you'd like to know that I heard from the bank, and your family arrived in Beverly Hills safe and sound.
Oh, that is good news. My son Jethro drove him out, you know.
Yes, I know he did. Oh, I have something here from the bank. I think you'll enjoy it.
For me?
They told me at your house I'd find you here.
Yeah, well, I promised Cousin Jed I'd keep an eye on the old home place for him. It's a long trip from my house, but I'm glad to do it for Jed.
That's nice of you.
Yeah, well, you know, can I help you look for that money?
What is the money? It's pictures of the estate that Mr. Drysdale, the president of the bank, purchased for him in Beverly Hills.
Oh.
Now, this is now the Jed Clampett estate.
Land to mercy, look at that. Why, it's bigger than the state capitol.
It's quite a change from this place, all right.
What in the world is that?
Oh, that's the swimming pool.
Swimming pool?
Yes, quite ornate.
Oh, my son Jethro's gonna like that.
Granny, when we's done washing, can I go swimming here in the cement pond?
Of course not. I don't allow nobody to splash around in my wash water.
Ain't there no place else you can wash?
This cement pond's the only water we got. Place ain't got a well, it ain't got a creek. Ain't even got a rain barrel to catch what comes out of the sky.
Oh, and that banker fella seen me unloading your wash tub and scrubbing board. He said, why, you can throw that away. We don't use them things here in Beverly Hills.
Now, you listen here to me, boy. I don't care how other folks live in Beverly Hills, but us Clampetts is gonna be clean.
Yes, ma'am.
May not have it as nice as we had it back home in the cabin. Plump right in the house and everything. But we ain't gonna lower our standards.
No, ma'am.
Here, wrench these things out for me. We gotta get this tub back to the kitchen, or Ellie's back. Yep. Being clean is a strict rule with your Uncle Jed. Let me look you over. Many's the time we've been down to our last piece of fat. I'd say, shall I cook it to eat it, or shall I render it down for soap? He'd say no. Render it down for soap, Granny. The Lord will feed us poor folks, but we gotta do our own washing.
But Uncle Jed ain't poor now, Granny. He got $25 million.
How long do you think that's gonna last if we go throwing it away on store-bought soap? Waste not, want not.
Now, here's a view of the entrance hall.
My stars and garters. Why, the palest. Whoever would have thought that my cousin Jed would be living in an estate like this?
Well, the credit is yours. You're the one who talked him into moving.
Oh, well, I put the notion in his head, but it was really kind of Ellie Mae when.
Yes, his daughter will have a wonderful life as a Beverly Hills debutante. Can't you just see that beautiful girl descending this magnificent stairway?
I sure can.
Ellie Mae, I don't reckon that's the way a young lady comes down the steps in Beverly Hills, is it, Mr. Drysdale?
Oh, not as a rule, no.
Oh, I can come down the other way. Watch this. How's that?
Well, that's not exactly what I had in mind.
Well, show me.
No, my secretary will show you. Oh, she's in town doing some shopping for you.
Oh, what's she getting me?
Well, now, that's going to be a surprise, Ellie, but it's some things you've been in needing, and they're going to be pretty, and you're going to like them.
Things I've been a needing? A set of muskrat traps. Three-blade frog sticker?
Nope.
A ready-made slingshot.
Now, Ellie, you way off the track. Now, you wait till Miss Hathaway gets here and you'll see.
Yes. Well, I'll be pushing along to the bank. Now, don't you worry about your daughter, Mr. Clampett. When my secretary gets through with her, you'll think she's been to finishing school.
I sure wish my cousin Pearl was out here fixing Ellie up. She's a whiz at fancy sewing.
Oh, is she a dressmaker?
That woman can make anything. Why, she can pick up a handful of straw, and before you know it, she's made a hat.
That's remarkable. So she's a milliner.
Oh, she's a Clampett. Married a Bodine. I don't recall knowing the milliners.
Milliners are women who make hats.
That's Pearl, all right, but she's a Clampett. You talk about making hats. Pearl made herself a hat one time was shaped just like a bird's nest. And in there on the nest was this blue jay a-setting on her eggs. Well, sir, they come from everywhere to see that hat, to study it, to see how Pearl made it so as they could copy it. Boy, there was dozens of them from all around.
Hat designers?
No, blue jays. Never did catch on too good with people. For a while there, Pearl couldn't hardly go out of the house without a bunch of blue jays taken out after her. Sure wish she was out here. She'd have Ellie slick as a picture in a catalog.
Yep. I ought to be out there in Beverly Hills helping Cousin Jed.
Well, he certainly has plenty of room for you. This mansion of his has 32 rooms and 14 baths.
14 bathrooms?
Yes.
A sunken marble bathtub. I can just see Ellie Mae having herself a bubble bath in there. I tell you, Mr. Brewster, the more I see of these pictures, the more I want to get out there and help Cousin Jed. Of course, I wouldn't go without being asked.
Well, naturally. But, you know, I think you should go.
I've been asked.
Now, it's not exactly my province. Well, why don't you telephone your cousin and talk to him?
Oh, why, there ain't a telephone within 40 miles of this place. Nearest one, I guess, is at the International Emporium, clean over to Oxford.
Well, I'll be happy to drive you over there.
Oh, I couldn't let you drive me all that way just to use telephone. Busy oil company man like you. That's 40 miles.
There's no trip at all in this car.
No, I couldn't do it. Why, folks that see me riding in this big, shiny car with a tall, good-looking city fella, why, sure as the world, they'd think that... Let's go.
Well, what about your horse and buggy?
Oh, just untie Betsy. You go on home.
Well, Bessie's headed for home, all right. Mrs. Bodine, how long has your buggy been hitched there?
About an hour. Why?
Why, a blue jay built her nest on the seat, and she was sitting on her eggs.
Oh, shoot. I wanted to wear that.
Here's Miss Hathaway.
Mon capitaine, je suis l'état.
Fine. Ready for Ellie Mae?
Gentlemen, aided and abetted by the gossamer garments, exotic lotions, and other feminine appurtenances within these cartons, I am ready to assume the role of Pygmalion and transform that barefoot Galatea into a striking and sophisticated paragon of Beverly Hills le couture.
That's yes the hard way. Well, duty calls. I leave you in capable hands. Goodbye, Mr. Clampett.
Thank you, sir.
Chief.
Well, that sure is neighborly of you, Miss Hathaway. Reckon you can handle Ellie Mae?
Uncle Jed, Granny says... Oh, howdy, Miss Hathaway.
No. Bonjour, Jethro.
Here are them things in for Miss Hathaway, Jethro. I think she kind of likes you, boy. She does?
Well, I can't take them into the house. That's what I come out here to tell you. Granny says that all the men folks got to stay out of the house while Ella May's taking her bath.
Oh.
But isn't Ellie Mae bathing in the privacy of her own bedroom suite?
Hear what she called you? Sweet.
What's the matter with him? Why doesn't he answer?
Hey, he's just a little shy, I reckon. Ask him again.
Is Ellie Mae in her bedroom suite?
No, she ain't, darling.
I'll find her myself.
Uncle Jed, I got me a girl.
You sure have, boy, and a city girl, too.
Some city girls I were about. Jesso's such a good-looking boy. Every girl in the 5th grade was after him.
I hardly think anything serious can develop between boys and girls in the 5th grade.
Oh, I don't know. So far this year, there's been 3 couples out of Jethro's class get married.
Married? 5th grader?
Parson's nearly as busy in that school as the teacher.
That's amazing. Oh, I've heard of
Uh-oh, wouldn't you know it? There's that Snoopy Alberta Bradshaw and that big mouth door sitting on my front porch. Oh, I can just hear the stories they'll start going on if they see me in this car here with you. Yoo-hoo! Alberta! It's me! Pearl! Terrible gossip, that woman, always making trouble. She tried to talk Granny out of going to California. She ought to see Granny now. Living like a queen in that Beverly Hills mansion.
I should have listened to Elmer Bradshaw and stayed home. We had a pump right in the house. Didn't have to choke water a quarter of a mile. Are you ready to get rinsed off, Ellie?
Well, not yet, Granny. Should have washed my hair.
No. You better wait till I can catch some rainwater. That pond water smells like it's got medicine in it.
I wondered why there's no fish in that pond.
Yeah. I reckon that water killed them fish. But don't you worry. My lye soap will kill anything that killed them fish.
Have you seen... What in the world's going on here?
Well, there's a bath going on. That's what's going on.
Howdy.
But I don't understand.
Well, then somebody ought to explain it to you, sissy woman. You see, first you heat some water. Then you put it in a great big tub like this. You put some soap in it, and then you get in it, and you start to wash, and that's what you call a bath.
Granny, you don't have to do this sort of thing in Beverly Hills.
Don't you listen to her, Ellie. Ain't you ever heard that saying that cleanness is next to godliness?
But of course, John Wesley said that.
And I bet he didn't live in Beverly Hills. Here, Ellie, dry yourself off with this nice big bath towel. My girl, I'll rinse off that old lye soap.
Lye soap? Did you say lye soap?
That's right. I make it myself.
But that will ruin this beautiful girl's delicate skin.
I've been washing with it for 72 years. Look at my skin.
It's like leather.
Yeah. Nice, ain't it?
Granny, I hope you will forgive my momentary bewilderment at this primitive form of ablution, but please let me explain.
Well, first explain what you just said.
Well, Ellie Mae has a beautiful big bathtub upstairs.
Upstairs? It was hard enough carrying the water in here. I ain't going to tote no water upstairs.
You don't have to. There's a big, beautiful... Haven't you been upstairs?
No. Jed said that probably belonged to somebody else. Ain't that right, Ellie?
Yeah. Paul said he heard tell that folks sometimes live one family right on top of another.
But that's only in apartment houses. This entire house belongs to you. And each one has his own individual bedroom suite. Come along and let me show you. And also the lovely things I brought from town.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'll be up directly.
What all did you bring from town?
Everything, Ellie. Everything from chapeau to pumps.
Pumps! Praise the Lord. Now I won't have to tote water.
Get through? Yeah, Uncle Jed?
Now, you're going to be keeping company with a girl. Is there any questions you like to ask me?
What kind of question?
About girls. How much you know about girls?
They softer than boys.
Yeah, I reckon. Generally speaking.
And they shorter and rounder.
Yeah?
And the hair's longer and it smells sweet when you snuggles up to 'em.
Oh, so you've been doing some snuggling, have you?
I've done more than that.
Well, I reckon you better tell me about it. Who was she?
Prettiest girl in the hills. Big Mouth Bradshaw.
Well, Verna's girl. I hear tell she's kind of fast.
Is she ever? Uncle Jed, I was walking past the cabin, and Big Mouth, she calls out the window to me. She says, "Howdy, Jethro." She says, "My ma's just made a big batch of cookies. Come on in and have some." And I says, "Sure your ma won't mind?" And she says, "Ma's gone, and so's Pa. I'm here all alone." Well, Uncle Jed, I was in that house before you could wink an eye.
Can't say as I blame you.
No sooner was I inside, the Big Mouth, she puts a music record on the phonograph machine and commences to sashaying around, a twisting and a turning.
Dancing.
Yeah, I reckon so. Anyway, she says, "Put your arms around me, Jethro, and I'll teach you the two-step."
What'd you say?
I says, "Listen, Big Mouth," I says, "here we are all alone. Your ma and your pa gone, and you think that I'm going to waste my time dancing?" I says, "Not me, sister. Bring on them cookies."
What'd she say?
Well,
Jed, you and Jethro can start digging the well. That city woman brought us some pumps.
That's fine, Granny. We'll get right to it. What'd that Bradshaw girl say when you said bring on them cookies?
Well, she just held up them cookies like this here, kind of blinked her eyes at me, and said, "Jethro, which do you think it tastes sweeter, these here cookies or my lips?" Well, Uncle Jed, right then and there's when I found out she was fast. I grabbed them two cookies, and it took me 2 miles to outrun that gal.
Jethro, on one of these days, you and me's got to have a long talk.
Yes, he's a lady killer, that bar of mine. While Verna Bradshaw's daughter chased him all the way home one day.
Sounds like Jethro has a lot of charm and sex appeal.
Oh, he has. It's funny how a daughter can take after her father and a boy can favor his mother. Yes. I ought to be out there looking after Jethro. You know, Jed's going to need him to help garden a place this big.
Well, most Beverly Hills mansions have regular gardeners. And, of course, a complete sprinkling system.
Sprinkling system?
Oh, yes, indeed. That entire lawn is crisscrossed with underground pipes.
Land to mercy.
By thunder, Jethro, there's water all over this property. Ain't too deep, neither.
I know. Should I commence to digging?
Well, now, let's get as close to the house as we can. That way the pump won't have so far to pull.
Clampett? Jethro?
Oh, here comes your sweetheart.
It's Clampett. I cannot handle that daughter of yours.
What happened?
I opened that box of beautiful clothes, turned my back for a moment, and she bolted like a wild colt.
I was afraid this would happen. Where is she?
She's up there.
I'll go right up and talk to her.
Jethro, have you been upstairs yet?
No, ma'am.
Then you've got a surprise coming to you.
What is it?
Your sweets.
So are you.
Oh, howdy, Pop.
I'm ashamed of you. Running off from Miss Hathaway.
I didn't run away from Miss Hathaway.
What'd you climb up here for?
To cut a fork for that new store-bought slingshot she brought.
Did she bring you a slingshot?
Fanciest thing you ever did see. Just a minute, I'll hook it up and you can see for yourself. Look at that.
Doggone. A store-bought, lace-trimmed, double-barrel slingshot.
He's a doozy. I don't know how good I can aim it, but it'll sure throw a heap of rocks.
Yeah. They really need me out there. Why, I could work wonders for Ellie Mae with my fancy sewing and beauty secrets and hairstyling and everything. Of course, I had to learn all those things, not having a husband to support me.
Didn't you say it was 40 miles to the town of Oxford?
That's right.
Well, we've already driven 110 miles.
Land to mercy, I forgot to tell you the turn off. Well, long as we come this far, maybe we ought to go right on to California.
I tell you, Granny, there's so much water here, you could shoot a load of buckshot in that ground and bring up a dozen springs.
I'll be right back.
I ain't never missed yet.
So the mansion in the Beverly Hillbillies, real thing. The wide shot there, that is, what's the name of that place? I made a note here because I knew you guys would probably want to know. The mansion is known as the Haas House or the Haas Mansion. And it is located at 750 Bel Air Road in Los Angeles, California. And it's situated on the upscale Bel Air neighborhood, which provided at the time the perfect backdrop for the Clampetts' newfound wealth and the contrast between their rural origins and their luxurious surroundings. But all the other stuff, the close-ups of the exterior of the front door, inside, all of that stuff was actually located on the back lot of the CBS studios in Hollywood. And the specific lot where it was filmed is known as Stage 19. The exterior of the house was built as a facade and was not a real livable structure, except for that really wide shot. That's a real house. But everything closer in, all basically a manufactured set, a fake reality, artificial. I don't know how intelligent it was, but it was pretty smart. And I was just thinking too, this was, if you think about 1962, the automobile really didn't come into its own until the very early 1900s, turn of the 20th century. And no computers, but look at the level of craftsmanship and everything that was built at that time. The generation from that era was absolutely amazing. The way they came through World War II, the post-war era, the Industrial Revolution, the building of America, Western society, the technological advancements, the space age, the dawn of the space age in 62, right? The automobiles that were produced then, the level of ingenuity and craftsmanship, the artistry in designing those machines in that time period, it is absolutely amazing when you think about it, and the pace at which technology really began to change. One more final episode here tonight, this one called The Servants. Let's get into it right now. Did we already watch this one? Maybe I didn't run them in the right order. If this is a misstart.
Can she bake a cherry pie, Billy boy, Billy boy?
No.
Can she bake a cherry pie, Charmin' Billy? She can bake a cherry pie, quick as a cat can wink her eye. She's a young thing and cannot leave her mother.
Well, Granny, did you pick out your spot yet for the garden?
Yep. I kind of favor a patch right close here to the house.
Yeah, I'll plow you up something there directly.
Yeah, just enough for some onions and taters and some Rudy Bakers. And a few rows of corn.
Paul? Morning, Granny. Paul, can I help you with the plowing and the spading?
Well, Ellie, I'd rather you put on one of them pretty dresses that Miss Hathaway got you.
But, Paul, I can plow better in these clothes.
Plowing. You know, Ellie, I'd like you to wear one of them dresses kind of regular. Wouldn't you, Granny?
You're mighty fetching in a dress, Ellie.
Prettier than a tub of fresh churned butter.
Paul, if I go to wearing them dresses, Jethro will make fun of me.
I reckon he hadn't better. Now, you run along and put on something with skirts.
All right, but he hadn't better make fun.
He won't, he won't. You know, speaking of Jethro, I think he's got himself a sweetheart.
The banker's secretary?
That's right. They was out together last night.
What'd they do?
Well, I don't rightly know for sure, but it was something to do with bowls.
All you do with bowls is eat.
Well, I reckon that's what it was then. She said she was going to take him bowling.
You know, Jed, I kind of like that Miss Hathaway.
Yeah, I think she kind of likes us, too.
I think Choosy likes Miss Hathaway.
Those simple, rugged mountain people. The more I see of them, the more I am impressed.
Yes, now
Never have I observed such strength of body, mind, and character.
Yes, now
They stand like boulders in the pebble-strewn landscape of Beverly Hills. Like mighty oaks among bushes. Like
quiet. Now, like I admire them, too. But those boulders need polishing, and we've got to put some city leaves on those oaks before my wife gets back from Boston.
Incidentally, in any endeavor requiring physical strength, they are most exceptional. I took Jethro bowling last night. Here's the bill.
$3,000. How many games did you bowl?
Well, you see, what happened was this. I said to Jethro,
Pick up that bowling ball, she says, and see can you knock over them pins down yonder. They's just sticks. Anyway, I snatches up that rascal, draws back, and lets her fly.
Did you knock down them pins?
Yeah, the pins, the pin boy, the end of the building, a brick wall, and a signboard down on Sunset Boulevard.
I bet you Miss Jane didn't do that good.
She didn't even try. She just looks at me and says, Jethro, you're strong as an ox and twice as handsome.
Ain't no two ways about it, Granny. That city girl is sweet on this boy.
I reckon so, the way she's bragging on his looks. You are handsomer than an ox.
Thank you, Granny. Cousin Ellie, you're a city girl now. Do you think...
See that, Paul? I
Told you this would happen if I took to wearing these dresses. You call me that again, and I'll turn you every way but loose.
Say nothing but city gal.
Ellie Mae Clampett! Get up from there or you're going across my knee.
And Jethro, you're going across mine.
What did I do that was so all-fired bad? In that dress, she looks just like a city gal.
You did again!
I think we better go out there and see she don't hurt him.
Even Jethro's no match for Ellie Mae. Oh, jeez.
Jethro, now that we living in the city, you got to learn to use the steps.
They'll be happy to know that I'm making splendid progress with Ellie Mae. She's turning into quite a lady.
Fine. Yes. There's Jed, Granny, and Jethro we've got to work on. Clothes, manners, the works. What have you done about servants?
That's the problem, Chief. They're basically opposed to the whole idea of able-bodied people letting others do their work for them.
Well, that's a refreshing attitude. But we've got to get a skeleton staff in there somehow. A combination butler and valet with Jed and Jethro. Who help them assemble a wardrobe, teach them how to... Ravenswood.
Your butler?
Oh, he's never been my butler. Came with my wife like an overweight dowry. Been in her family for years. And with Margaret in Boston, I can certainly spare him, plus her upstairs girl, Marie.
I doubt if you can sell Mr. Clampett on the idea of servants.
Get him on the phone. I'll make him think he's doing me a favor by taking him off my hands for a while.
Right, Chief?
She had not have thrown me down on my head like that. What if I'd have been carrying a frog in my hat?
You ain't supposed to be wearing your hat in the house.
Well, Granny, where's a fella going to carry a frog? They jump out of your pocket.
Hello? Oh, howdy there, Mr. Drysdale. Glad to have you back from Boston. Your missus come with you? Oh, that's too bad. I know her and Granny'd hit it off like two sows in a mud waller.
Yes, I'm sure they would. No recipes? No, my wife doesn't do much cooking. No, I doubt if she ever made grits and hog jows.
Well, how about mustard greens and possum belly? No? Pone and squirrel cake? Boiled chicken hog. Well, say, she don't do much cooking, does she?
No. Well, the reason I called Mr. Clampett is I have a butler. Well, he really belongs to my wife's family, but he's been with us ever since we were married. And I was wondering if you'd let him come and stay with you for a while.
You mean board with us?
Well, I guess you could call it that.
Who's going to board with us?
Just a minute. Some kin of Miss Drysdale named Butler. Oh, why, we be just...
That's that no good fat rascal that wouldn't let Ellie and me in to help Miss Drysdale when she was sobering up.
Hello? Granny was talking at me, but she's done now.
Oh, no, she ain't.
Just a minute. Granny, let me hear the man out, and then we can talk it over. Yes, sir, Mr. Drysdale, I'm a listener now.
Well, in addition to Ravenswood, he's the butler, you can also have my wife's upstairs girl, Marie. Margaret may be away for some time, and I have absolutely no use for him.
Well, I sure would like to oblige. Me and Granny will talk it over, and I'll call you.
Oh, thank you. You'll be doing me a great favor.
I was glad to help out when I can.
Thank you again, Mr. Clampett, and goodbye.
Is somebody coming to live with us, Uncle Jed?
Maybe, Jethro, maybe. Why don't you go out and make up with your cousin Ellie?
Okay, Uncle Jed.
All right, Jed. Let's have it. We going to board that butler fella?
Well, Mr. Drysdale will take it mighty kindly if we did. He says he ain't got no use for him.
I don't like him myself.
You only met him once?
Once was enough. I asked him real nice. I said, are you doing for Miss Drysdale that she's feeling poorly? Are you doing the washing and the scrubbing and the cleaning for her? And he looks right down his nose at me and says, Madam, I am a butler.
I reckon he is proud of his name. Kind of fancy. Ravenswood Butler.
I don't care if it's Stonewall Jackson. And I think Mr. Drysdale has a lot of gall to ask us to take his wife's kinfolks off his hands.
Well, now, I'm mighty beholden to him. You know he's keeping my $25 million in his bank, and he ain't charging me 1 penny to do it.
That's his business. You didn't ask him to do it.
Well, now, Granny, if it was just Mr. Butler, I might agree with you, but there's a sad side to the story, too.
What's that?
Well, you've heard of Mr. Drysdale speak of his stepson? That's his wife's boy by her first marriage?
The one they called Sonny?
Yeah. Well, it seems she's got a girl, too. And there must be something wrong with her.
What?
Well, I don't know, but they keep her upstairs.
No.
Yeah. He spoke of her as my wife's upstairs girl.
The poor thing.
Her name's Marie, and he'd like us to take her and Mr. Butler.
Doggone it, kid. We got enough to do to take care of this big place without... He didn't say what was ailing her, huh?
Well, no, but if you ask me, they ain't eating right over there.
No.
You know what Mr. Drysdale told me?
What?
His wife ain't never cooked grits and hog jowl.
Ah, go on.
That's a fact. Nor mustard greens and possum belly. Nor pone and squirrel shank. Nor even boiled chicken hawk.
Land of mercy.
You can't hardly blame Mr. Butler for getting a mite cranky. Man don't eat right, he gets that way.
I reckon it won't do no harm to take him in for a spell.
Granny, for such a little woman, you got an awful big heart.
Well, I feel sorry for the poor girl. But the first time that fancy pants Mr. Butler looks down his nose at me, I'm gonna chuck him in the cement pond.
I love that. The cement pond. It's so funny. It's hilarious. Maybe I'm just old. Maybe this humor's out of style, but I
I'm
love
doubling
it.
your salaries for the length of time you stay at the Clampett home. But if one word of this gets back to my wife in Boston, you're both out of work with no references.
Actually, you will find the Clampetts to be basically fine people. All they need is a little polish.
Polish. They need sandblasting. However, I think Miss Hathaway's plan may overcome their initial resentment of wearing city clothes.
Yes, I think I have devised rather a clever strategy. To put it briefly and succinctly, my strategy is as follows. I shall propose to the Clampetts that they sit for a family portrait. As you know, my hobby is painting. Now, I should suggest to the Clampetts that their attire match their background, which is, of course, their beautiful mansion. They will no doubt see the logic of my didactic approach, accede to my wishes, don suitable raiment, and, once they have seen themselves thus attired, take...
We're in. Let's go.
We forgot to dust the stair rail. I'll do it, Granny. Wearing boys' clothes does come in handy sometimes.
Hi, Ginger Granny. I think we got her all spick and span for the company.
They ain't a speck of dirt no place. Can I go swimming now?
Me too?
As soon as we help Granny clean up the kitchen. There goes that music again.
Sure is. You ever find out where that comes from?
Know 'em, Granny. Every single time I commence to looking for it, somebody comes to the door.
Nobody to the door now?
There will be. You'll see.
Doggies, that's nice.
How can we find it? You're wasting your time. I'm a-telling you. Before you can find it, somebody will come to the door. There, you see? Happens every time.
I remember, Ravenswood. I'm counting on you. Don't fail me.
You have my word, sir. I've been butler and valet since boyhood, as was my father before me and his father before him. And I've yet to meet the man or woman who posed a social problem too difficult for me to handle.
That's the spirit.
Howdy there. Remember me, Mr. Butler? No! Ravenswood, come back! You gave your word! Come back, you coward! Come back here! I'll cut off your fringe benefits!
Ravenswood probably forgot something. He'll return shortly. Meanwhile, this is Marie. This is Drysdale's upstairs girl. Marie? Lady Clampett?
Howdy.
Jethro Bodine? Ellie Mae Clampett? And Grandma Clampett?
No, ma'am. I am a Moses.
Pardon?
Granny's related on my wife's side. They's the Moses family from Tennessee.
Then your name is Granny Moses? Grandma Moses.
That's right.
There was a very famous Grandma Moses who painted primitives.
I've whitewashed a few myself.
I'll show Marie to her room.
Listen, Marie, honey. Over here, you've got the run of the house. You don't have to hide upstairs. Ain't nothing wrong with that girl, but what some good cooking will cure her. She's half starved.
Poor thing is so weak her knees keeps a buckling on her.
She's kind of pretty, though, for a skinny girl.
Just wait till she gets a mess of Granny's grits and hog gels. That'll fill her out.
Well, I'll get some of cooking. Guess that butler fellow will be coming back directly.
Oh, and Granny, can we have some of that salted down possum belly that Ma sent us?
Well, I reckon it is kind of a company meal.
Granny, open up a jar of them pickled crow gizzards.
Now, Jed, we don't want to spoil these folks. They might get to thinking we eat like that every day.
Baby, will you do something nice for me?
Sure, Pa.
Will you go get into that pretty dress again?
Oh, Pa, Jethro will make fun of me.
No, I won't, Ellie Mae. Cross my heart.
Why,
That's my darling. Thank you. And then you be real nice to Marie. She's had a bad life.
I'll be nice to her. She's pretty.
Let's all be nice.
Pa, I wanted to go swimming. Now I gotta go put on an old dress.
Cousin Ellie, you look awful pretty in a dress. Honest you do.
Do I look pretty in that there city girl?
You look prettier than that there city girl.
That did it. Come on and fight.
Now, Ellie, come on,
There's nothing to be afraid of, Ravenwood. The fact that they're big and strong doesn't mean they're violent. Elephants can be gentle. Now, Ravenswood, your appearances deceive you. Oh, really? Oh, I do admit on the surface they do seem a bit rough, even cruel. But I assure you underneath they are placid, kindly, and gentle. You'll see.
You shouldn't have called me a city girl.
May, leave me alone, please,
City girl.
Mr. Butler, don't never say anything nice to that girl. She'll kill you.
Come back! You promised!
I wonder, Granny, when Mr. Drysdale said he didn't have no use for Mr. Butler, he sure wasn't fooling. I just seen him cut through the brush chasing him with a stick.
Mr. Butler gets sassy with me, I'll chase him with more than a stick.
Dad, Ellie throwed me down on my head again. If she don't stop that, I'm going to get a headache.
Stop riling her, Jethro.
But golly, all I said was she's pretty. That ain't no call to bust a fellow's head.
How you doing?
Oh, howdy, Marie.
Hi, Marie.
Are you hungry, darling?
No, madam.
I'm whooping up something here that'll just set your mouth to watering.
Put some strength in your limbs, too.
Tell her what it is, Granny.
A great big mess of grits and hog jowls.
And salted down possum belly.
Cold pickled crow gizzards. How you like that?
Don't tell me that child ain't hungry. Why, she's ready to drop in her tracks. Set her at the table and I'll dish up a mess.
No, please. I only came in to bring you a message from Miss Hathaway. She's preparing to paint a family portrait, and she wishes to know if you all will sit for her. May I tell her that you will sit for her?
Well, yeah, I reckon we'll do that.
Merci.
Well, let's get at it.
Funny.
Reckon it's all right to talk while we're sitting?
Yeah, I reckon. Found out something about Marie.
What?
She's scared of Mr. Butler.
How'd you know?
I asked her to go swimming with me, and she says he wouldn't allow it.
What business is it of his?
That's what I said. And she says he's a butler, and I'm just an upstairs girl. And I got to do whatever he says.
We'll see about this. Dingies, let's hit Mr. Drysdale, find him, and give him a whooping. I'll catch him, Granny.
Well, you go put a dress on like you promised.
Uncle Jed, I'm going swimming. If I see him, I'll fetch him in.
Don't go jumping in with your clothes on again.
Well, I won't, Uncle Jed. Miss Hathaway, she gave me a present last night. She says it's something special for her to go swimming in.
What'd she give you?
Oh, pair of trunks.
You go swimming in the cement pond. Boy, it's too big to go swimming in a trunk.
Ed?
Even a pair of them.
I got a feeling that Mr. Butler feller is going to be trouble.
Yeah, we can handle him.
Well, I still say that I think Mr. Drysdale has a lot of nerve to ask us to board his wife's relations.
Maybe he just fed up. Man can get awful tired of having his wife's kin underfoot all the time. He told me that Butler fella had been living with them ever since they was married. I declare some in-laws latch on to free room and board like leeches. It takes a mule kick to jar 'em loose. You can't hardly blame Mr. Drysdale for trying to get shed of a critter like that.
Is that the way you feel?
You bet it is.
I'll see how fast I can get packed. I'll get out from underfoot just as quick as I can. No, Jeff. I know when I'm not wanted. It don't take no mule kick to get shed of me.
Darnation, Granny, well, I wasn't talking about you. We couldn't get along without you.
No, Jeff. I'm just a burdensome old woman, no good to nobody. Why don't you throw me down the well? Go ahead, pick me up, carry me out to the well, and throw me in.
Stop talking like that.
Uncle Dad! Uncle Dad!
She's such a good actress.
I caught him. Mr. Drysdale, he gave out, but I caught this fat little rascal. You gonna whip me, Granny?
No, Jethro. I'm going to get thrown down the well. Why don't you throw us both down the well together? We're just no good leeches, both.
Mr. Butler, I'm sorry Jethro got mighty rough with you. He don't mean no harm. He's just an overgrown boy. Now, we'd almighty pleasure to have you come and stay with us, and as long as you behave yourself, won't be no trouble. Oh, I'm Jed Clampett.
Sir.
This here's Granny. I reckon you and Jethro done met.
Yeah. Sir.
Oh, and this here's my daughter, Ellie Mae.
Enchantée, mademoiselle. Vous êtes très belle, très charmant, très ravissant.
Don't you dare use them kind of words to a lady.
What do you say, Granny?
I ain't sure, but it sounded dirty.
If your daughter was pretty and charming, oh, you're so different from all the others. You're like a beautiful city girl.
He had not have said that.
Oh, Marie.
Oui, Miss Jane.
Didn't you say the Clampetts had agreed to sit for their portrait?
Oui, they said they would do it.
What is it? I believe it to be self-preservation, madam. No!
Don't take to the stairs, she'll catch you sure!
Sounds like Ellie got him.
Afraid so.
Somebody please tell me what is transpiring in
Dead. Ellie throwed him all right, but I caught him before he hit the floor.
So here you are. Well, now, everything seems to be fine. You see, Ravenswood, didn't I tell you the Clampetts were kindly, gentle people?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
gonna have to feed up both of them, Granny. His knees is buckling, too.
This is great stuff. Howdy. Y'all come back now here. And that was that. There was a reference made to Grandma Moses. Real person, real artist. This is what Grandma Moses looked like, as referenced in that episode of the Beverly Hillbillies. And she was born Anna Mary Robertson Moses in 1860. She became an American folk artist, but, you know, a lot of artists don't become famous. They're starving artists while alive and then become famous and would be wealthy had they lived, but a lot of them don't. Their art doesn't become worth anything until after they die. Well, in her case, she was discovered right around the age of 80 in 1940 by an art collector, between 1938 1940, in that range. And she, at that point, became a sensation within the art world. Now, she went on to live until well over the age of 100. I think she died when she was about 101. Let's just see if we can see what it was that made her famous. It was her work. She produced something like in the range of 1,500 different paintings, and this was what her style was about. Grandma Moses. And I don't know if Granny in the Beverly Hillbillies was really, based at all on Grandma Moses, but the reference was made in that episode. And you can see that this style of art, sort of innocent, simplistic, but it took the art world by storm. I think it wasn't just the art. I think it was the magnetism of Grandma Moses's personality, and maybe even the novelty of having someone of that age become a personality, a celebrity even, back in those times. So referenced in the episode, but certainly didn't appear in the episode. She died long before the Beverly Hillbillies was ever on television or was ever created. But very interesting stuff. But anyway, there you have it, my friends. Another fantastic edition of Maverick MidKnight Matinee comes to a close. We took a journey back in time together with that unaired pilot of the Beverly Hillbillies and followed it up with the first 3 episodes of that television series. And as we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect, shall we, on why the Beverly Hillbillies continues to hold a special place in the pantheon of television. The show wasn't just a hit for its humor and quirky characters. It was a pioneer in the sitcom genre. By juxtaposing rural simplicity with urban sophistication, it offered a satirical commentary on societal norms and class distinctions that was both entertaining and thought-provoking. Looking at today's society, where we eat crickets, the themes of the Beverly Hillbillies are just as relevant, but they had enough common sense to not eat crickets back then. The show's exploration of cultural clashes between the rural and the urban mirrors today's ongoing conversations about social and economic divides, which are front and center, especially right now as the U.S. presidential election winds its way through our society. In an era where class, wealth, and cultural identity remain hot topics, the series' playful yet incisive examination of these issues provides a timeless reflection on how we navigate our differences. We've got many of those. Just look at this episode of Maverick News just prior to tonight's episode of Maverick MidKnight Matinee. A lot of very, shall we say, entrenched positions on certain issues out there. And a lot of controversy surrounding all of them. But this show's ability to use humor to address social issues is something that continues to resonate. Modern sitcoms and dramas still grapple with similar themes, maybe in different ways, whether it's through satire, though, parody, or drama. Still grappling with social issues, always will. The Beverly Hillbillies showed that comedy could be a powerful vehicle for discussing and reflecting on societal values and contradictions, a lesson that remains valuable in today's media landscape. Unfortunately, I don't think that the mood out there is as welcoming to civil discourse as maybe it was back then. Although the 60s was a pretty raucous time, social change and a push for civil rights, the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King. Moreover, this series, though its portrayal of its characters with their endearing quirks and simple values serves as a reminder of the richness found in diverse perspectives, free speech, in a world that is increasingly interconnected yet still grappling with divisions. This show's message of finding common ground and humor in our differences remains poignant. Tonight's watch party is being a celebration of not just a beloved TV series, but of its lasting impact on how we view and understand our world. As we continue to explore classic and contemporary media, we'll keep seeing how these kinds of stories from the past still illuminate our present. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Maverick family, for being here tonight for this nostalgic journey. I hope you enjoyed this rare glimpse into TV history and these rare episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies that shaped so much of what we see on the screen today. And let's keep the midnight magic alive. Stay tuned for more Maverick MidKnight Matinee episodes in the weeks ahead. It's been fun. I'm kind of glad we're doing this. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I have enjoyed the privilege of sharing all this with you. And we'll continue to do it, as I say, in the weeks and probably months, maybe years ahead. I will see you all tomorrow night during our regular Maverick News program, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Catch y'all. Catch y'all on the flip side. Y'all come back now here.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.